Perfect. We are now live, guys. Hello, everyone. Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much, Philippines, worldwide, for watching right now. If you have any questions, sorry, I have my echo here. Oh my God. All right. Okay, I'm back. Yeah. So, to everyone who's watching right now, wherever you are, if you have any questions about our said topic about local SEO, just drop it down here in the comment box below, and we're going to answer that with Greg Gifford. And my privilege, because he's here. I know he's very busy, but he's here, guys. So thank you so much, Greg, for your time, and I really appreciate it.
Oh man, happy to be here. This will be fun.
All right, perfect. So let me introduce you first to our viewers. So by the way, guys, Greg Gifford, he is the Search Labs Chief Operation Officer, and he is one of the most popular speakers in the industry. We met in the Bali, Indonesia. One of the speakers there, really great. I love your talk.
Thanks.
I love your presentation. By the way, I learned a lot. No, you have a really nice presentation, and wow, it's really a hard work doing that. And
Yeah, it's fun though, you know.
yeah, he also got, guys, a weekly video series at Local Search Tuesday for some of the best and most actionable local SEO tips, and you can go there. And yeah, thank you. Right, everyone. So wherever you are watching right now, drop your comment here, and we are going to answer that. Jano, shout out to everyone in the chat. You guys are awesome. Oh, my wife, she's still up and she's here. Hello, gentlemen. Thank you, Han, for supporting my brother watching from Riyadh KSA. Thank you so much. Greg, I know you're doing local SEO for decades now. Like, can you share more about yourself and where you started?
Yeah, I actually started way back in the day as a Flash website guy, funny
Wow.
enough. And so I had an agency and we did Flash websites, and we figured out pretty quickly that Google couldn't see the content that was in Flash websites because it was just like 3 lines of HTML code on the page for the
Mm-hmm.
Flash thing to load, and all the content was in Flash, so nothing would show up. So we figured out how to get the content to show up, not realizing that it was really against the rules. It was like some really evil
Mm-hmm.
cloaking stuff that we were doing. But that's
Yeah.
when I started to really kind of get into SEO and see what it takes to show up better in Google. And
Okay.
then I ended up deciding to part ways with my partners and go do something else. And I got a job as a Flash designer at a company that did websites for used car dealerships in North America. And I was just going to be the guy to do the cheesy little animated intros for the websites. And pretty quickly they were like, wow, you're pretty overqualified for this job. And I was like, well, I did own my own agency for a while. And they're like, why
Uh-huh.
don't we have you be head designer here? And I was like, all right, cool. So like really quickly I was head designer. And then pretty quickly after that, they put me in charge of the marketing for the company. And then shortly thereafter, probably a year and a half into working there, they decided they wanted to start selling SEO as a service. So we started interviewing people
Mm,
for the SEO position, and everybody that we interviewed, we didn't feel like had as much knowledge as I did. So the owner of the company said, why don't you pivot and swap over and start the SEO department, because we can hire anybody to do marketing. And that's when I
true.
really got, jumped in with both feet into the deep end of the pool of SEO and really fell in love with it. And at that point, I was starting to go to conferences just to learn.
Okay.
And I realized that conference speakers, there's like a spectrum that they fall on. So this end of the spectrum is the really intelligent person that shares amazing helpful information, but they're just not good at public speaking,
Yeah.
and it's painful to sit there through the presentation because they're just awkward on stage. The other end of the
Okay.
spectrum is those people that are incredibly engaging and entertaining, but at the end of their talks you think back and you're like, wow, that was amazing, I feel so excited, but there's nothing they really shared that's going to definitely change your day to day. So I wanted to fall right in the middle of that spectrum because, people are never really at either extreme. They fall somewhere in that spectrum. I
Yeah.
wanted to be right in the middle where I share really helpful information, but it's also entertaining because I'm a goofy guy.
Uh-huh.
And I love movies. I was actually a film major when I went to college. So I pretty quickly fell into having movies as the backgrounds of all of my slides. And between the movies and the bad jokes and trying to be entertaining but informative, it just became a very popular type of presentation style because not many people do that. And I
Mm-hmm.
got lucky and started getting invited to go all over the world. And so I've been traveling all over the world speaking at conferences for a decade now.
Wow, that's a quite great story from you, Greg. No, so and like, what year is that you started?
Oh, geez. I probably started speaking at conferences 12 or 13 years ago at this point, but they were like smaller things only in like I spoke at automotive conferences first, like a
Okay,
vertical specific conference for car dealers before I spoke at just SEO conferences. But
all right.
I started, so I think I started speaking outside of the United States 11 or 12 years ago.
Wow. About when you started SEO, like
Oh gosh.
19 something.
Well, I got the job at the auto dealer website company like 17 and a half years ago. So that was really like, I would say like when I really officially started SEO was probably 16 years ago, but realistically it's probably more like 19 or 20 because I was doing
That's
SEO
long.
stuff without
Yeah.
realizing that's what I was doing when I was doing the Flash stuff.
That's really long. No. All right, we have questions here from Edman. Sir Greg, should I use geotag images on GBP?
No, you should not. And here's why. When you upload the image, Google strips all of the EXIF data and geotagging. So there's a lot of misinformation out there when it comes to
Yes, I
local
agree.
SEO.
Hmm.
And one of the kind of old myths that just won't die is that if you either have EXIF data or geotagged images and you upload them to your Google business profile, that it's going to help your ranking, and it doesn't do anything.
So that's one of the myths that's local SEO guys or gurus like teaching, like some of them they recommend like to geotag images, right? And then
Yeah.
that's also helpful for GBP, but you mentioned right now it's not helpful. So thank you for
Yeah,
clarifying
I
that,
actually
Greg.
got it straight from Martin Split from Google that Google strips all of that data when the photo is uploaded.
All right, all right, it's pretty great advice. No, Gerald, shout out to all amazing people. You're incredible. Jinky, good evening, courageous founders. We have question from Elgin. Question for Greg: can changing my business name affect my rankings?
Potentially, it can. So, one of the most overpowered elements in the local algorithm
Mm-hmm.
is if your business name includes the keywords that you're trying to rank for, it can help you rank for those keywords. Now, you got to keep in mind though, Google's really fighting spam pretty hard nowadays. So if you're going to cheat and just add those keywords to your business name and that's not really your business name, you're going to
Mm-hmm.
get suspended and it's going to probably make you lose your profile forever because it's going to be really difficult to get it back. But
Okay.
if my name was Greg's Widgets
Mm-hmm.
and people are searching green widgets in Dallas, it'd be better for my business name to be Green Widgets in Dallas. But if my name is Greg's Widgets and I just add dash Green Widgets in Dallas, then a lot of people think that that's all you need to do, but that's not actually my business name.
Sure.
So that's where you get in trouble. So if you want to go change your business name legally, you're going
Mm-hmm.
to have all of your utility and business license and bills and everything in the name of the business to be able to prove that that's actually your business name. You're going to have permanent signage. If you're a storefront, a physical storefront, the sign on the building is going to have to say that business name. If you're a service business like a plumber and electrician, your truck with the logo on the truck is going to have to be painted on or like a wrap, and it's going to have that same name. So usually changing your business name just to hopefully rank better is not a great idea, especially
Okay.
if you've been in business for any period of time. It's better to just do good local SEO because it's not the silver bullet that most people think it is. It's not like you just jump automatically to the top of the rankings just because that keyword is there. So realistically, while it might help a little bit, it's not a good strategy.
Perfect. That's a lot of value bombs there. So, Elgin, I hope you learned from that. And yeah, keep asking questions, guys, if you still have questions, because this is the first time Greg is here and he's teaching a lot of knowledge right now. So, yeah. All right. Well, Greg, since we are talking about this misunderstanding or misconception about GBP and local SEO, can you please like name some of those? Like a lot of people are doing it incorrectly.
Oh yeah, so a lot of people will, the image thing, either geotag your images or have EXIF data on the images. That does nothing. A lot of people think that filling out, there's a field in the
Hmm.
info area where you're typing in your main like name, address, phone number in your Google Business Profile
Hmm.
editing dashboard. There's a field called areas served. And a lot of people think that if you put things in there, that will help you rank in those areas. And that field's actually ignored by Google. So that field only exists for what's called a service area business, which is like a plumber and electrician, where they don't really have an office that they do business at. They go to the customer's location and do business at the customer's location. So it's serving people in a wide area. And that area serve field, all it does is it draws a little red line on Google
Okay.
Maps to let customers know how far you're willing to drive to serve customers. But it has zero influence on how you rank. Even if you're a service business, it doesn't influence how you rank. But the bigger misconception is people think that if I'm a brick and mortar and I have a publicly displayed address on my
Uh-huh.
profile, that if you go add city names or neighborhoods into the area's served field, it's going to help you rank there. And that does nothing. A lot of people think that pointing links, doing link building to your Google Business Profile will help. It doesn't help. You can't really even do it. What's another one? Google Posts. Google Posts are
Okay.
awesome. Google Posts are effectively free ads that you have total control over, and they appear in your business profile. But people think that doing Google Posts and having the right keywords in Google Posts will help them rank better, and they don't influence at all. The Q&A section, they've added in this Q&A section about 7 years ago, where it's literally a community discussion widget. And people think that if they upload certain questions with the right keywords, they're going to rank better. And again, Google ignores that section when it comes to ranking. So there's a lot of things that are out there
Yeah.
that like the SEO hustle culture bros and
Still
the
doing it.
gurus on
Hmm.
LinkedIn will tell you, if you do this, 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 and this,
Yeah.
overnight we went from nothing to ranking #1 everywhere in the city. And like,
I
it's
totally
total,
agree.
it's total
Mm.
BS. It's not true. Like, use the smell test. If somebody's like, you won't believe the click-throughs we got, or you won't believe the results we got, then you can pretty
Mm.
much not believe anything they say next.
Yeah, I totally agree with you with that one, Greg. So right now we have 89 viewers. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for watching right now from my community, Facebook profile, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Thank you, everyone, for coming in. I know it's late here in the Philippines. Some of you from the Philippines, so thank
What
you
time is
guys
it
for
there?
watching. It's 10:15 p.m.
Oh, wow. Well, thanks for staying up late to do this with me then.
Yeah, thank you so much as well. Yeah, I really value your time. So I just don't want to miss this opportunity to again see you again, and yeah, love to ask you more questions. Yeah, okay. So since we are talking about, and you mentioned about link building earlier, no, about misconception. So what's the best strategy for doing link building for local SEO or GMB or
Good
in
question.
GMB?
So, one of the things that I think a lot of people still don't understand about local SEO, most people out there think, okay, you just do regular SEO and then you do some stuff with your Google My Business or Google Business Profile. And it's
Okay.
actually not true, because the local algorithm is separate from the traditional algorithm. So it's a different way of writing content. It's a different way of link building. It's doing all the Google Business stuff, but it's also customer reviews. And so with links, people still follow everything that they see online about link building,
Uh
but
huh.
everything that you see online or everything that you see at conferences about link building is about
Okay.
link building for the traditional algorithm, not for the local algorithm. So the biggest difference is that in traditional SEO, you're paying attention to those authority metrics, domain authority,
Mm-hmm.
page authority, whatever it's called, depending on which tool you use. They all have some sort of a number score for how valuable that link is, how
Okay.
authoritative the site is that's linking to you. And in local, you kind of don't care. You almost don't pay attention, and you almost go to the extreme of doing the opposite of that. because in local, what really matters is getting links from local businesses and local websites in the same general vicinity as your business. So sure, if you can get a big, powerful link, go get the
Mm-hmm.
big, powerful link. But the
Okay.
links that really move the needle the most are those links from the dry cleaner up the street, or the church, or another bar or restaurant up the street. And the thing is, one of the best links that you can get is a link from a church, because a church is relevant down to a particular neighborhood level. So it's
Mm-hmm.
very tightly constrained. And churches don't tend to do SEO, so they don't link out to a lot of other websites. So if you happen to get a link, it's really powerful because churches don't link
Yeah.
to that many people. The thing is, because churches don't do SEO, they also
Uh-huh.
don't have a lot of inbound links, which means if you run a church URL through any, Href, SEMrush, Majestic, Moz, whatever link tool you might be using, it's going to say, oh, you don't want this link. It's a very low authority score. When
Mm-hmm.
in fact, it's exactly the link that you want. So you almost have to unlearn some of the things that you learned with traditional link building. Another big one is, with traditional SEO, you don't really care about links that have a no follow attribute, because that no follow attribute means, hey, don't pass value on to the site that you're linking to. But in local, the no follow attribute doesn't really apply. It doesn't matter. Google still values those links. It still pays
Mm.
attention to those links. And there's a lot of studies that have been done to prove that. And no one really knows 100% why. My suspicion is just that with the traditional algorithm, it's a much larger scale, bigger sites, more pages, more links. With local, it's some little mom and pop most of the time. So it's a little business with one or two employees. They're not really doing SEO. So they're not
Okay.
going to have a lot of links pointed to their website. And if Google was going to just straight up disavow and not pay attention to anything that had a no follow attribute, most of the sites that are doing local wouldn't have any links pointed to them.
I
So Google
agree.
kind of
Mm.
has to count those no follow links. So that's another big thing. So like the authority thing and the no follow thing, those are really kind of, it's a weird switch in your brain if you start doing local SEO when you learned traditional SEO.
That's perfect. Really great advice. I'm learning. Thank you, Greg, for that wonderful advices. So you also mentioned earlier about these reviews, like uh, because some people ask me this question before the live right now. Is reviews is important? How many reviews we need? What can you say about that?
Yeah, reviews are incredibly important because Google sees reviews as a fairly trustworthy signal that that is true information about that business from customers. Now, does
Mm.
that mean you can't fake reviews? No, you could totally fake reviews, and people do fake reviews. But Google looks at that kind of user generated content as a big clue, because you can do a lot of things to cheat and get a website to rank really high in search results. We all know that,
Yeah.
right? We're all in SEO. We
Mm.
all understand that our job is to get our client sites to rank higher, whether they're really the best solution or not. So Google then uses those local reviews to say, all right, these businesses that are ranking higher, are they well liked by customers? Do they treat customers like crap? Then they don't need to be up top anymore. But the thing about it is, Google doesn't actually care how many reviews you have.
Mm.
It's not like for any particular vertical there's a certain number that you need to hit.
Mm-hmm.
What really matters is, do you have more than the local competition? It's pretty much it. So, if you're in a really large, crowded metro market, you're probably going to need to have significantly more reviews than
Okay.
you would need to have if you were in a kind of an isolated rural setting where there's just not a lot of competition. I mean, we work with a lot of car dealers, just because for 12 years of my career, I worked at agencies that only did SEO for car dealers. And you'll see a car dealer in the middle of nowhere in a small town that'll have a couple of hundred reviews and they're fine. But
Mm-hmm.
in a really crowded metro market, it's pretty standard to see anywhere from 4 to 6,000 reviews for a car dealership. So a dealership with only 200 reviews isn't going to be able to compete. But then it's not the simple, it's SEO. It's never one simple thing, right? So it's not the simple, do you just have more reviews than your competitors? Okay, you rank higher, because it's also the sentiment of the reviews. You can have more reviews than your competitors and they're all 1-star reviews, and obviously that's not going to help.
Yeah.
So the real important thing is to actually be proactive and think about what you can do to make it easier for customers to leave a review. because in general, customers don't know where to go to leave a review on Google or any other review site. And you also have to ask customers for a review, because it's not human nature to leave a review when you
True.
had a great experience.
Yeah.
It's human nature to go leave a review when you're pissed off because it was a bad experience.
Yeah.
But it may be the best experience you've ever had, whether it's a restaurant or a bar or a dry cleaner or whatever the business might be. It may be the best thing you've ever experienced, but you still don't think I need to go leave a review and tell people that. So if the business is active and proactive in asking every customer to leave a review, then that means you're going to get a lot more positive reviews, because then those happy people that wouldn't have thought about it, now if you ask them to leave a review, then they feel almost obligated to do so, especially if they were just telling you how amazing the experience was.
That was perfect. I'm going to read some questions here, Greg. We have question from Ed. Question for Greg, please. Should we use schema for GBP?
You can't actually put schema on a GBP. So the answer to that is no, but I'm wondering if you're talking about local business schema on your website tied to your GBP. So if that's the question, then yeah, whatever your GBP website landing page is. So the website link, the button on your GBP, whichever page that points to, which for the vast majority of businesses, that's going to be the home page. But if you have a single website, multi-location business, then your GBP should point to the individual location page for that business. But either way, whichever page is your landing page for the website button on your GBP, that's the page your local business schema should go on. Don't make the mistake that most people make and put that local business schema just in your header or in your footer so it's on every page of the website. Google is a pattern detection program, and the correct pattern is to have your local business schema on the one page that your Google business profile points to.
All right. Wonderful. Janus, what common mistakes are businesses still making on GBP?
Oh, going top down. Adding keywords into the business name, big mistake. Not choosing the correct primary category is another really big one. So there are 10 possible category slots. It does not mean you need to use all 10. In fact, most businesses shouldn't use all 10. You really want to be sure, though, that you pick the correct category for the first category. Your primary category is probably the most weighted element that affects your visibility in map pack searches. So it's not always the one that you would think that you should put. The example that I use a lot of car dealer examples, just because for so long in my career I was car dealership focused. If you're, let's say, a Ford dealer and you're selling Ford cars, and you're in a really crowded market. In fact, Dallas, Texas is the most dense Ford market in the world because there are 24 dealerships in one town.
Okay.
So if you're in Dallas, Texas, you need to have Ford dealer as your primary category because that's what you're fighting for business the most on. But if I'm a Ford dealer out in the country and there's not another Ford dealership for 100 miles in any direction, I shouldn't put Ford dealer as my number one category because I'm the only option. Google's going to automatically display me. They only see a map pack. People won't see a map pack. You'll just see the Google business profile, even if you're 25 minutes away, because there is nothing else close to you, right?
Yeah.
So in those situations, you should actually put used car dealer as your primary category because that's what you fight against all the other people selling new cars and all the people selling used cars. So any business out there, it's kind of like that. You know, restaurants. You could have Italian restaurant or you could have just restaurant. A lot of restaurants will just put restaurant as their primary category when in fact they should put Italian restaurant because that's actually the kind of food that they sell. So you want to make sure that you're picking the right primary category. Then you also want to make sure you're picking all of the other categories correctly. What a lot of businesses do is they try to shoehorn in a category name because they're just trying to fill in as many slots as they can because they heard picking more categories helps you rank. And you start picking things that are unrelated to what you actually do. So Google's going to look at that primary category and Google knows what types of businesses that applies to. And if you choose something else that you're trying to kind of squeeze it in and in your head, you're justifying that it's close enough that you can use it, but it's a completely unrelated category, that can actually hurt your visibility. So that's bad. A lot of businesses will have the wrong phone number because they set their business profile up and they have a set it and forget it mentality and they never touch it again. And then their phone number changes and they forget to change that. A lot of businesses forget to add UTM tracking to their website link
Mm.
and really to any link. And that's important because it doesn't affect rankings, but it gives you better data to make better marketing
Sure.
decisions. Because a lot of the traffic that comes to your business profile, especially when it comes on a mobile device, if no referral information is passed to Google Analytics, that traffic is defined as direct in Google Analytics. So you want to make sure you have UTM tracking added to that website link. So let's say it's going to homepage.com/UTM source equals GBP, UTM medium equals organic, and it's got to be organic with a lowercase o so that it matches the channel report in Google Analytics. That forces the traffic to be attributed as organic, and there literally is no other way to get to a Google business profile other than organic search. We've done this on businesses and overnight seen sometimes a 30 to 40% lift in organic traffic, not because it's magical SEO, but because 30 to 40% of their traffic was misattributed as direct. So that's a really
Mm.
important one. You want to make sure you've got amazing photos uploaded. A lot of businesses, again, it's a set it and forget it mentality. You set it up, you never touch it again. But you want to upload amazing photos and upload photos that show your business with happy customers there and employees there.
Mm.
Like, I hate when I'm looking for a place to go eat because I travel a lot. So I'm going to go look for restaurants. And you're trying to look up restaurants and they take a picture of the restaurant or the bar or the pub completely empty with no one there. And that's not, you want a
Yeah.
vibe of what it's going to be like. And
Okay.
in the Philippines, I'm sure you don't have to worry as much about winter. But, when we have customers that are further north in US or Canada, we always tell them, look, in the winter, you've got a couple of feet of snow on the ground. You don't want to have a picture of your business in the summer where it's nice and sunny. So you want to swap your photos out throughout
Mm.
the year to match what the customer experience is going to be, because that's really what it's about. It's matching what a customer's expectation is to what it's going to be like doing business with you. Another big one is people think that the posts will affect ranking. It doesn't. People think that posts are like social media, and so they're sharing blog posts or they're just sharing goofy social media messages, the same sort of stuff they'd share on Facebook. And a Google post is really an ad that appears on your profile. So you want to treat it like an ad and have something promotionally focused. And cropping on the Google post is really wonky, and it crops slightly higher than a vertical center to crop down to that thumbnail that's displayed on your profile. So what happens a lot of times is people don't pay attention to what that crop does, and they'll have this amazing photo and all this great stuff, and then when it crops, it's like, it'd be like a smiling guy going, but then the crop is like this, and you just see like, you know, you see this in the photo because it crops higher, and then
Mm.
your photo's not compelling, and then nobody clicks on your Google post. So pay attention to that thumbnail of the Google post. That's key. And
Okay.
then the questions in the Q&A, a lot of people think that it's keywords, like I said a minute ago, and it's not. And people will load just completely asinine questions, and you really want to anticipate what humans will ask. That's the important element, because it's really neat the way that Google built it. As someone is typing a question in, if a similar question has been asked and answered in the past, Google will auto-complete their question as they type it. But not only that, it pops up an answer immediately. So they're getting an answer halfway through typing their question in. So they're getting an answer faster than if they were talking to a human or even an AI chatbot. And
All
it's a
right.
really cool pre-site experience that gets you more conversions. But people get it wrong, and they're just like, oh, I need to go upload 50 random questions, and they're dumb questions that no one would ever ask. So what's the point? People don't go
Mm.
read through those questions. The
Yes.
reason you want to preload questions is to anticipate what someone will ask and what the common questions are, so they get those answers when they're asking. So that's pretty much the gamut of the most common mistakes that we see.
That's a lot. Wow. And it's clarifying. So thank you, Greg, for that one. So guys, if you are still using those mistakes, I want you to stop doing that because it won't work, right? We have here from Giselle Nicole. Shout out to Sir Greg. Thank you for being an inspiration and always leading with wisdom and heart. Keep shining and making a difference.
I'm glad it's
Miguel,
cool.
any idea for multiple location without multiple GBP listings?
Oh, Miguel, can you pop back into the comments and give me a little bit more insight into what you mean? What kind of business is it where you would have multiple locations but not multiple
Hmm.
profiles?
All right.
Because
Miguel,
that I
yeah,
need
can
a
you please
little more
elaborate your
detail there to
yeah
answer you
question?
well.
Okay. Elizabeth, knowledge is power, and Sir Greg empowers me today.
Ah,
Can you give me some advice for this? Since you are talking about Google Posts, what are Google Posts? Okay, so he's new to SEO, I believe,
yep.
and how can they benefit your GBP strategy?
So, Elizabeth, when you go look at a Google Business Profile, if you're looking on desktop, typically the Google posts are either 3/4 of the way down or all the way down. And it almost looks like social media because you're going to see a little thumbnail image and a couple of lines of text and a link underneath. And if there's more than one active, you'll see two of them and then a little arrow and you can kind of scroll through. Once you click on it, it gives a modal pop up where you get a larger version of the image that's not cropped and all of the text instead of just a few lines.
Okay.
So a lot of people think that it's social media, but it's not. It really truly is meant to be a call out, an ad, a promotion. It's something to help your business profile stand out because Google understands that local customers are going to look and evaluate multiple businesses to figure out where they want to go do business. And so that Google post is something that don't approach it like if I do something it's going to help me rank, because it's not. It's a conversion element, not a ranking element. So you want to think conversions, and social media junk is not going to help you there. Pictures of happy customers, not going to help you there. What's going to help you there is something promotionally focused, some sort of offer. It doesn't have to be a discount, but some sort of thing that's going to let people know, hey, act now and you're going to get a great deal. That's the best
Perfect.
way to use Google Posts.
Awesome. Yeah, so I have a lot of questions with you in regards to local SEO. Maybe I want to ask a different question related to business and your challenges as well. So, Greg, what's your biggest challenge you face when starting local SEO?
Honestly, I think
Okay.
a lot of time the biggest challenge is clients don't understand what local SEO is.
All right.
Clients know I need to show up in search results. Most of the time, they don't know that they need local SEO instead of traditional. So, even the ones that do understand I need to work with someone that understands local SEO instead of traditional,
Mm-hmm.
their exposure in whatever limited fashion it might be to SEO is to traditional SEO.
Yeah.
So, when you get in with local SEO, clients think, oh, you can just say, hey, we serve customers in city 1, city 2, city 3, city 4, and have this list of 20 cities at the bottom of the page, and that's going to help you show up in those cities. Or they think that, in your title tag, if you put 2 or 3 cities, you're going to show up in 2 or 3 cities. And it doesn't work that way. And
Mm-hmm.
it's more about you need to create a page of content around a singular topic. And that singular topic means singular keyword concept and singular location concept. So when you come into a business, for the sake of example, let's say there are 5 services that a business provides. So they've got 5 service pages in their menu of their website, but they have locations in multiple cities. Let's say they're also in 5 different cities with a
Mm-hmm.
legitimate office in each city. That means instead of just having 5 pages on the site, they now have 25 pages on the site, and likely it's 30, because the main menu section, those 5 pages, would not be optimized around a location.
Mm.
But then you also have each of those 5 pages rewritten where it's unique and not just like, don't throw it at Chat GPT and go rewrite this page because then it's going to be crap. It has to be well written, but then you rewrite that content so it's the same concept written uniquely, optimized around a city. You don't want to take the same page and just change the city name out. It has to be uniquely written. But now we've got those 5 pages for city 1, those 5 pages for city 2, those 5 pages for city 3, then city 4, then city 5. And a lot of times clients will be like, why are you doing that? It doesn't make sense. And so I feel like a lot of times being successful in local SEO is more about educating your clients that you're working with
True.
about how local is different from regular
Mm.
SEO and why the strategy that you are doing is going to be effective in the long run. I think that's more important for success than actually just knowing how to do local SEO.
That's perfect. Yeah. Kevin, Coach Greg, how can I make my Google business profile appear for different keywords?
So Google is pattern detection, and Google knows if you're a restaurant that people searching for, I want a restaurant that sells spaghetti, and you're an Italian restaurant, okay, you're going to show up for that. But it's not just let's go do stuff to my Google business profile. It's let's do stuff to my website. So again, those 5 pages that we're doing for each of the 5 cities, any one of those pages, I could do a search for green widgets, red widgets, blue widgets, purple widgets, and yellow widgets. I search for green widgets in Berlin, Germany, right? And if I sell green widgets in Berlin, Germany, it may not say green widgets anywhere. You know, it could be Greg's Widget Company is the name of the business. And, you know, I've got questions in the Q&A section, but that doesn't affect ranking. I might have a Google post, doesn't affect ranking. In the actual Google business profile, there's nothing that says green widgets other than the fact that widgets is in the name of my business. But what if my business is called Greg and Kirk's Fun Store, but we sell green widgets? Doesn't mean my business profile won't still show up when people search for green widgets, because you've got to have supporting content on your website that's well optimized and well structured that lets Google and customers know what you sell. And then it'll get the Google business profile if that particular search query is far enough down the funnel that Google understands this query has local intent, then your business profile is going to show up, or a map pack will show up that has your business profile in it.
That's really great advice. Greg, so since we're talking about ranking and keywords, like how long usually would take to rank a keyword?
I mean, it depends. Is it a keyword we care about, or is it just we're trying to rank as fast as we can? Because all of the hustle bros out there will be like, we'll get you ranked overnight for 100 keywords or you don't pay. And then they'll get you ranked overnight for 100 keywords. But it's some ridiculously long tail keyword that no human being would ever search for.
Yeah.
So who cares if you can rank overnight if it's a phrase that's literally never going to show in search results, right? So it then becomes, how dense is the competition? If it's Greg and Kirk's Fun Store and we're selling green widgets and there's only one other guy in town that sells green widgets, we could open Greg and Kirk's Fun Store and put up a website, and pretty much overnight we're going to rank for green widgets because there's not a lot of competition. If there is a lot of competition, you're probably looking at, on the low end, 3 to 4 months to start to see results. But realistically, in most cases, you really want to say it's going to be about 6 months till you start to see some results. And you really don't start to see the big results usually until 10 to 12 months in. So you got to understand that it's the old adage, it's SEO is a marathon, not a sprint. It's long term. Yeah. The things that you're doing today are affecting your visibility a couple of months in the future. And people forget that it's not just, let me go do these things according to best practice, and oh my gosh, I'm not number one and I did everything I was supposed to do. But you got to look at the fact that you're not doing SEO in a vacuum. All the competition is likely doing SEO as well. They're all trying to get to the top. So it's this king of the hill battle that you're always fighting against everybody else to get to the top. And then once you get to the top, you can't go, oh, I'm number one, let me just stop doing SEO, because then those guys that are still doing SEO start bumping you down. So you just kind of always have to keep fighting and understand that it's going to take time to get results. And that's also part of the client education bit, because some clients that, especially the ones that have done paid search in the past, they have that expectation that they're paying you all this money, they should rank really quickly. And you have to help explain that, look, I get it, you're paying money. And yeah, you may not see anything out of this for 3 or 4 months, maybe even 6 months, but that's okay, because you have to show them what you've done in the past that shows positive lift over time, so that they can trust that, okay, I can spend this money for a few months and not see ROI, know that I'm going to get it later.
It's really great, no? Yeah, that's true. A lot of people, like, they want faster results. Like, clients want to see faster result, 1 month, 2 months. Like right now, you mentioned about 6 months. So I hope everyone who's listening right now can understand that, like, it won't work. Like, if you want to see fast result, like 1 month, then, and also you're expecting to rank with a keyword which is like a competitive one. So yeah, everything is clear now. Thank you, Greg, for sharing that.
Sure.
All right, Ed, what can you do if your competitors buys review?
Whoa, so this is really bad. So Google is actually really trying to fight this. So there is, and they've rolled this out in the UK, and it will be coming to the rest of the world, that if you get caught faking reviews, Google actually puts an alert on your profile that says, positive reviews have recently been removed from this business. That's best case scenario. Worst case scenario, if you're a pretty big offender, not only will they display that alert, they'll actually lock reviews and you won't be able to get any more reviews for who knows how long they're going to keep that lock in place. So if you know that a competitor, now it's typically pretty difficult. I help on the Google Business Profile Community Forum. So for everybody watching that doesn't realize this, there is a public support forum for every Google product that's out there. Basically, because Google doesn't want to hire support for all the need that it has. So it sets up these public forums and lets other people that are just randos in the public go in and answer questions there. So I help on the Google Business Profile Forum a lot. And I just completely got, what was the question we were talking about?
Yeah, and in regards
Oh,
to
buying reviews, right.
competitors, yeah, buying
So
reviews.
reviews are a really big issue. There's actually a bug, in case you're watching this, there's a bug that happened 2 days ago where a
Yeah.
lot of reviews are just disappearing off of profiles right now. So if you've
Mm.
lost a lot of reviews in the last 2 days, don't freak out. It's a known bug. They're not actually gone. They're just not being displayed on your profile.
Mm.
So those will get back. But if you know a competitor is faking reviews, we see this a lot in the forum where people are like, my competitor is buying a bunch of reviews because there's no way they're getting that many reviews. But it's also a business owner that doesn't ask for reviews, so they're getting 1 review a month. So it doesn't compute in their brain that they can have a competitor doing the same thing, getting 5 reviews a week, when really all it is they're asking. But if you know that they're buying reviews, you have some sort of evidence that they are buying reviews, then you can go in and report them. So there is a redressal form. So if you look for Google Business Profile Redressal Form, that's a form that you can go in and report businesses for doing things they shouldn't be doing on Google. You can also go in and flag reviews. So you can go in and flag the review and say, report this review, whatever. Potentially, if it's egregious enough, you could go connect with support and say, hey, support, I'm pretty sure, or I know for sure that this guy is buying reviews. I wanted to let you know. You can also come to the forum. Keep in mind, if you are going to come to the community forum and post, once a volunteer answers things correctly often enough on a forum, they get invited into the product expert program, which gives them a little badge. So if you ask a question in one of the Google forums and someone with a product expert badge answers you, you can trust their answer because Google has basically publicly endorsed that that person knows this product.
Okay.
So once you're in the program, you can start escalating in level. Once you get to gold or platinum level, you actually have to sign an NDA with Google, and you have the ability to then escalate a thread and skip support and send that thread directly to the Google Business Profile team. So if you're going to come post about a competitor buying reviews on the forum, you're going to have really solid evidence, because if you're just like, I'm pretty sure they're buying reviews because they're getting too many reviews, nobody's going to be able to help you. But if you can come in with evidence of like, here's the sticker in his window that says, it could be incentivizing reviews too. Maybe they've got a sticker up in their window that's like, get $5 off your next visit if you leave us a positive review on Google. That's against the rules too. So if you have something like that where it's really clear evidence that they're breaking the rules, then you can come to the forum. If you think somebody's buying reviews and there's not really a way to prove it, it's going to be difficult to get help on the forum because we're not going to be allowed to escalate that to the reviews team if there's not enough evidence in place.
Great advices. So yeah, only, we have few peoples here that knows how to do that, but a lot didn't know. So thank you, Greg, for sharing that advice and where can they go when they need help. Ren, Coach Greg, what is the single most impactful GBP ranking factor?
Ren, the single most impactful GBP ranking factor is whichever one you're not doing correctly right now. Haha, see what I did there? If you look at, there's an annual study that's done by Darren Shaw at Whitespark every year called the Local Search Ranking Factor Study, where they basically send a really in-depth survey out to the top about 40 minds in local SEO across the planet. And then they aggregate all of the answers from these people that are really deep in local SEO to get a pretty good idea of which signals have the most influence. And the most recent study that was done for this local search ranking factor study, by far the most impactful single thing that you can do is choosing the right primary category for your business profile. You are muted.
Sorry about that.
I was like, wait, I can hear
Okay.
you.
Actually, earlier I'm coughing, so I muted it. But I read. And thank you very much, Greg and Kirk. Really appreciated it. Very interesting. Greg, I'm very excited to learn more about this GBP study that you mentioned. Maybe can you share a little bit about that if it's okay with you?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we spent 2 years studying a bunch of Google Business profiles in 3 different verticals. We did car dealers because that's the biggest kind of cross section of our clients. We did
Okay.
personal injury attorneys because they tend to be the most aggressive with local SEO tactics. Of all the businesses out there, that's the vertical that really gets local SEO the most. And then we did cannabis dispensaries because recreational cannabis is legal in half of the United States now and in all of Canada, but they're not allowed to do Google ads or social media ads. So their only digital marketing opportunity is SEO. And it's a kind of a new business that's growing. So we get the cross section of, okay, car dealers, which have a lot of unique things, lawyers because they're probably the top of the game, and cannabis dispensaries because they're the bottom of the game. So we studied all these profiles, and we just published the auto dealer version. We'll be publishing the other ones here in the next month or so. But a lot of studies, people try to assign some sort of a value to each individual factor so that then they can come at the end of the study and say, this is the most important ranking factor or the most influential ranking factor. And I don't think statistically there's a way to do that because there are just too many variables at play between location and proximity that the local algorithm pays attention to. So instead, we took a different approach and we said, all right, here's all these best practices that everyone agrees on. This is the best way to do local SEO. Let's study these profiles and look and see, does the data of each of these elements match up? Like link building, does the guy at number 1 in the map pack have more links than the guy at number 10? So it's comparing, because the map pack only goes to 3, but then you can click more locations and go to the local finder page and see everything that matches that particular query. So we took positions 1 through 20 for various keyword searches in like 14 different cities
Oh
across the
wow.
United States. So half of the write-up of the study is just industry averages. So for car dealers, this is the average number of reviews. This is the average review score. This is the average number of photos. This is the average time it's been since the last business photo was uploaded.
Okay.
Review response times, all these things. Just so you can see industry averages and compare yourself. And then the second half, we're comparing position number 1 to position number 10 and saying, do these things align with what we would expect? And then I've color coded. Each one has its own little icon, and I've color coded the icons so that you can really quickly visually tell the difference between an assumed ranking factor and a factor that we know, like Q&A, doesn't influence ranking but does influence conversion. So it's blue and green. I don't remember which is which, but like I'm pretty sure blue is a conversion factor and green is a ranking factor. But then in the comparison section at the bottom, I did introduce red as a color as well. So at the bottom section where I'm comparing 1 to 10, if it didn't match expectations, we colored it red. Like links is a great one. We expected that the guy at number 1 would have more links than the guy at number 10. That actually wasn't true. The average at number 10 was higher than the average at number 1.
Okay.
But then you go in and you look, and there is one very large auto dealer group that has hundreds of stores across the country, and they have their own internal marketing team. And each of their stores, individual car dealerships, typically will maybe have, I don't know, anywhere from 400 to 800 individual websites linking to them. So not total link count, but unique domains linking to them. And total link count could be up to, I don't know, anywhere from 10 to 20,000 links for a total link count. This group, they have 4.5 million links to every store from only about 500 different websites. So they're getting millions of links from the same website, which doesn't really do much for you. So there's one, and none of them rank well, but clearly their internal SEO team is taking a traditional link building approach, and they're thinking the more links I get, the more I'm going to win because they're stuck in early 2000s. And they're telling their bosses, hey, we've got all these links. Look, we're amazing. But they're all from the same website, so it does nothing for them. So they don't rank well. So if I go and look at everybody that's in that group at number 10 and I take out that one guy that had 4.5 million links and remove that and then do the average, guess what? Then it matches expectations and the average at number 1 is higher than the average at number 10. But I didn't want to like manipulate the data and say everything matched up because technically it didn't. So there's a couple of things in there that don't match up to expectations when we're doing the comparisons. But in, I think every case but one, it was a situation like that where there's one or two people that just have a ridiculous number for whatever that metric is that completely screws up the average for the group. But it's pretty interesting, and it's really cool to kind of just see those industry averages. And then, you know, we also found some really fun stuff that we're also going to be writing up about just the ridiculous categories that people are choosing for car dealerships that you would think, all right, for the car dealership. So car dealerships are allowed to do something a lot of businesses aren't, which means they can set up multiple Google business profiles, which typically you wouldn't be allowed to do. So you can have one Google business profile for car sales, one for service, and one for parts, even though it's all one building, one sign. So if you're just looking at the sales profiles, which is what we did, there's 10 category slots, but there are more than 10 categories that apply to car sales. So really, every car dealership should have 9 or 10 categories selected. We saw tons of dealers that only had 1 or 2. But then we saw a lot of dealers that had 9 or 10, but they had 9 or 10, like they would select things like chauffeur service, which like, I don't know why a car dealership would say they are a chauffeur service. Or they would say vehicle manufacturer, but they don't make the cars, they just sell them. Yeah. So we saw all kinds of really just crazy, bizarre categories that people would select and put in. So there's a lot of fun information coming from this study that we're still going to be adding to the blog in the upcoming month.
Wow. Wow, I'm excited with that blog, and I learned a lot from there, Greg. No, and I'm also going to apply it. So thank you for that.
Yeah, anybody that's watching that wants to go see, go read the study, if you go to bit.ly, so bit.ly/auto-gbp-study, that will take you right to the study, and you can go check it out.
Bit.ly. All right, I'm here. So the most extensive car dealer GBP research ever conducted.
Yep.
Is this the one, right?
That's it.
All right, let me add it here. Perfect. You can go to this URL, guys, if you want. I just added it in the comment box below, so you can check this one. Greg, I know you're busy and it's still 8 a.m. there. So can I have some last advice for the people who started local SEO, and also for the people who's doing local SEO for years now and still need to learn more? What can you advise with them?
For sure, I would say always keep learning. I think the people that have been doing it for a long time kind of get stuck in a rut and they just do the same things that they've always been doing. But Google is constantly evolving and changing and updating things. And I think you need to stay on top of those updates. And I'm not saying you need to go to a bunch of conferences, but there's a lot of free conferences that you can watch online now. There's a lot of free videos that you can check out. So always be learning. And then if you're new to it, for sure, be learning. Like learn. One of the things that I love to tell people is don't just learn a checklist and follow the checklist, because then you're just really following a checklist of someone else's strategy. Learn the why behind what you're doing. Don't just learn the how. Learning the how is only half of it. The other half is learning the why. Why does this thing that I'm doing make a difference? Because if you're only learning the how, you're always going to be chasing results. If you learn the why, you'll understand why what you're doing is influential, and you'll be attacking results instead of chasing results. You're muted again.
That's perfect advice, Greg. All right. Yeah, we have last question from Darrell. Sir Greg, I'm just wondering how I rank for near me search queries.
Love this question. So a lot of people will go start putting near me in the text on the page. Like, are you looking for a dentist near me? Which doesn't even make sense grammatically, because it would say, are you looking for a dentist near you? Right? So it's not just about putting the keyword on the page. Now, the thing that you need to understand, putting the keyword on the page. Are you looking for a dentist near me? Are you looking for an Italian restaurant near me? You can go optimize and insert near me instead of a city name for all of your geolocation stuff and potentially show up in organic results. But what people show up for when they're trying to show up in near me searches is you want to show up in the map pack. And doing near me in text on the page won't help you show up in the map pack. The thing that you have to understand is when someone searches for a keyword near me, they are explicitly telling Google, I want search results that are close to my physical location right now. And even if they're searching on a phone, Google knows their location either by GPS in the phone or by triangulation of the cell phone towers. So when you say near me, you're explicitly telling Google, I want stuff that's really next to me.
Yeah.
So if your business is one of the 3 closest businesses to them, then you're going to show up in the map pack in a near me search, regardless of whether you have near me on the page or not. If you're not one of the 3 closest, putting near me on the page isn't going to magically jump you into that list because you're not close to them. It's all about proximity. So realistically, if you want to show up for near me searches and you're okay with showing up in the organic section, then knock yourself out and go for it. But if you're saying that, Daryl, if you're asking that because you want to show up in the map pack for near me searches, understand that you can't really optimize for that because it's 100% based on real world location.
Thank you. Shout out to Sir Greg for making complex things simple and accessible. All right. Yeah, Greg, yeah, I know we still have people here. So Greg, maybe you have something to share, and also where can we go if we are looking to learn more from you and what you do?
Yeah, so anybody that wants to learn more about what I do and what SearchLab does, best thing to do is go to our website. You can go to our blog and see all of my videos, or there's actually a video tab on the website that you can go to, and you want to look at the Local Search Tuesdays. That's my weekly video series. So I've now been doing a weekly video series for local SEO for a decade, which is crazy. And it's honestly
A lot
getting
of
really
dedication.
difficult to come up with a topic every week because I've talked about pretty much everything at this point. But yeah, my Local Search Tuesday videos are really fun. I've got a whole like green screen studio over here. So I do like goofy stuff. Like I'll have my evil twin come out and I'll have conversations with myself, and I do really kind of, anytime I do air quotes, there's like a karate sound effect on it. So it's goofy and fun. And they're typically short, like 3 to 5 minute videos about one specific tactic. But I also do share conference presentations. So like after I got back from Bali, I posted a recording of what my Bali presentation was. So that's a really great way to stay up to date on current best practices for local SEO and see the things that I talk about. Also, Bright Local is a local SEO tool company, and they have a Bright Local Academy, which is free educational videos. I have several courses on the Bright Local Academy that are free, that are all about here's how local SEO works, here's specific things about local SEO. I do also have some free courses on the SEMrush Academy that people can check out. So all of those great ways to go learn more about local SEO and stay up to date.
Perfect. So guys, go to searchlabdigital.com, Bright Local, and SEMrush if you want to learn more from Greg Gifford. So thank you so much, Sir Greg, for coming in. I value your time. I value your time and appreciate everything that you shared here in the community. And thank you once again. Thank you, Greg.
One more thing they could
All right.
potentially do to learn more from me.
Okay. What's that?
I mean, I might know a guy I could talk to about getting me to a conference in the Philippines at some point. And then maybe they could see me speak at a conference live in the Philippines. I don't know.
Yeah, that's me. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that, Greg. That's also my next question with you privately. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for still watching. Greg,
Thanks,
thank
everybody.
you so much for your time. Appreciate it.